people, I'm back again. I say that like almost every time I make a video because I've been awful about posting, so I apologize. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I recently experienced because I'm 16 and I just got my license a few months ago. So I'm going to be talking about learning how to drive and getting your license and the license test and the permit test. Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to join my little family, and comment down below video ideas or any questions you have for me, and I hope you guys enjoy. I apologize if there's an echo because I am in my dining room and there is nobody home and nothing going on, so it's very empty sounding and I can hear the echo, so I apologize. And let's get into the video. So first I'm going to be talking about learning how to drive. Right before I turned 15 and a half is when I kind of started to begin practicing driving with my dad and my mom. I started practicing in parking lots and like back roads. I wasn't awful when I first started, but I also wasn't amazing. My biggest difficulty when I first learned how to drive or began learning how to drive was that I didn't know how hard to push the brake or like when to start pushing the brake. And obviously I learned in time, but it was just like, yeah, that was a little interesting when I would stop in the car like that and jerk everybody. But it's okay. I learned and I have my license now, so what's up? I turned 15 and a half. I didn't get my permit right then because I was still doing the online driver's training. I did it online. I didn't go to a class. It was easier for me to do it online. So I did that, and it took me forever because I did not want to read every single thing. And I would say at least read a good portion of it because I almost failed my permit test the first time. So getting into that, when I went to take my permit test, I did a walk-in, so I didn't have an appointment, and I only had to wait like 20 minutes because the place I went was fairly quick. And I think you can miss 8. I think that's what it is. And I thought I failed because I was told you could only miss like 6, and I counted and I had missed 6 already, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna fail this. This is great. Like, and the permit test that I took is online, or not online, but it's on a computer at the DMV, so it's not written anymore. I don't know if that's still like a thing in every single state, but in California, it's not, or where I live, it's not written anymore. It's on a computer. So I couldn't go back and like look at my answers for the questions, you know what I mean? Like once I clicked it, you can't go back. But right when you answer the question, it would tell you if you got it wrong or right. So then you could like evaluate like how many have I gotten wrong so far? Do I really need to pay attention now so I don't fail? And it also did not tell me how many questions there were, like in total. It just kind of stopped and said, oh, you passed, you know what I mean? So I can't tell you how many questions there were. I would say there's at least 20, probably like 30 questions that are asked. So throughout that, I was like nervous. I was starting to sweat because I was getting really nervous that I was gonna fail. And then it ended and a thing popped up that said, congratulations, you passed. And I about pooped my pants because I was so excited, because I was like, oh my god, like I didn't expect that, because I thought I failed because I thought you could only get 6 wrong, but you get 8 wrong. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. And because of the experience I went through where I like was about to fail, definitely study for your permit test, because as much of a pain as it may be, it'll be worth it because you won't be stressed that you're going to fail, and then you won't have to take it again. So here you go. So then I went and I got my picture taken, and I looked gross, but it's okay because most license pictures and permit pictures aren't always great, but whatever. So then I was super excited, and then I had my permit for 4 months before I started my driving training with an instructor. So that was kind of annoying because I didn't get a lot of practice. So I had already had it for 4 months, and then I booked an appointment. And then after you have your first driver's training with an instructor, then you can legally drive with your permit. So you can't legally drive with your permit like right when you get it. You have to take the first driver's lesson with an instructor. So after that, then I was like fine about driving wherever, and I wanted to drive all the time. So I got my permit November 30th, 2015. But you have to wait 6 months after you get your permit in order to take your license test, and it wasn't on my exact birthday that it was 6 months, because I took the permit test later than my half birthday. So I had to wait until like 2 months after my birthday to take my driver's test, but it was fine. So June 3rd of 2016, so this year, I had my driver's test, and I took my third, because you have to do 3 driving lessons before you can get your license and take your driving test. So I did my 3rd driving lesson the same week I took my driving test, because I was like refreshed and everything, and I recommend doing that. So June 3rd came around, and I was really excited. I looked all cute with my makeup on, because I thought that you could retake your photo then. If you didn't like your permit picture, I thought you could retake it then, but you can't. It's a different process. Anyway, and so I was waiting, and everything was good. I was like, oh, I feel good about this. And then 5 or 6 minutes after I started my actual driving test, we came back to the DMV, and I was like, oh crap, I just failed, because my driving instructor told me that if you're out for at least 10 to 15 minutes, you passed, unless you do something really bad right at the end, because that means you passed. So I was looking at the time, and I was like, okay, definitely didn't pass, because 1, it hasn't been even 10 minutes, and 2, I hadn't done the pulling up to the curb and backing up portion of the test. So I was like, okay, I failed. So I parked the car, and she said, okay, let's go find your dad, because we have some things to talk about. And I was just like, oh crap. Like, I was like, oh, I can't believe I just failed this. That's so annoying, because I was so confident that I would pass it the first time. I went to my dad, and she was like, and I got an automatic fail. That's the reason, that's why I failed, is because I got an automatic fail. And what I did was, it was a lane violation, and I did not move into the yellow dashed turning lane. So when you're coming on a busy, a main road, and there's a portion where there's a gap in between this middle section where there's yellow dashed lines. If you do not move, you're supposed to move into the yellow dashed lines before you turn down a side road, if there's not a designated turning lane. And I didn't do that, because I didn't really realize that, and I never really practiced that with my driving instructor or with my parents. And so I didn't move into that turning lane, which meant that the cars behind me were still going, and they didn't have a whole bunch of room to go around me, and a semi came around me, and I had just enough, left enough room so that they could go around me, but I was in the middle of the road, not in the spot I needed to be. So I got an automatic fail. So that's how I failed my first driving test. So we got in the car, and I didn't want to touch the wheel. I didn't want to drive at all. I was just I felt so bad. I started crying, sitting in the passenger seat, and I just started bawling. I was like, Dad, I can't, I didn't want to talk about it. It was just bad. But then you have to wait 15 days after, if you fail your first driving test or fail a driving test, you have to wait 15 days after. So I made the appointment right then in the car. 2 weeks later, I came back from vacation, and I was about to take my second attempt at driving test, and I never got a confirmation call, because you get a confirmation call or text letting you know that your appointment is coming up, or that your driving test is coming up. I never got it, and so that morning I was like, Dad, I never got my, the confirmation, and he was like, well, are you sure you made it? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. So we went there, and I was like, well, we can go there, and if I don't have it, oh well. And so I went there, and the lady's like, what's your name? And I said that. She's like, oh, I don't see your name on the list. I was like, okay, this is great. So I hadn't finished making the appointment when I was doing it right after I failed my first one because I was emotional. I wasn't paying attention and I hadn't clicked submit or whatever the button was, like confirm. So I had never made my second appointment. But it worked out too because my dad left his wallet at home and I wouldn't have been able to take it anyway because you need to show verification of who you are. And I was like, okay. So that was like June 28th or something like that. So then I made another appointment to take it for sure this time. And I scheduled it for July 12th and I went to a different DMV because I mean, it doesn't really matter the DMV, I would say. I mean, some DMVs, like the streets or the areas may be harder, but like, it's all the same test. But I decided to go to a different one because I'd heard more positive things about that one. So I went to that one and it was a different setup. So like right when you started the test, you had to back out of a parking spot. And then I started going and it was like 90 degrees outside and I forgot to turn the air conditioning on in my car. And I didn't want to take my hands off the wheels because if you take both hands off the wheels at any time, it's an automatic fail. So I was like so nervous. I was like, I don't want to touch it. And so we were at a stoplight for like 10 minutes because the stoplight was super long. And the lady giving me the driving test, she was like, can I turn the air on? I was like, yes, please. Like, I'm dying in here. And so we turned it on. It was all good. And then I was gone for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I felt really good. But then we went back to the DMV and I still had not done the part where you pull over to the curb and back up 200 feet. And so I was like, really? Like, I failed again? I was like, what the heck? Like, oh my gosh. And we pulled in the parking lot and parking spot and she was like, well, congratulations, you passed. And I was like, what? Like, okay. And she's like, yeah, you only missed 3, so congratulations. I was like, thank you. I was like mind blown because I never did the backing up portion. But what I'm assuming and what my dad assumed is that the part where in the beginning of the test you have to back up, or at this DMV you had to back out of a parking spot, that maybe I did such a great job about that and looking and everything that I didn't have to do the backing up portion. So we're good. I got in the car and I was like, Dad, I passed. I was so excited. Oh, it was a great day. So July 12th of 2016, I got my license. And I wanted to retake my picture because I looked gross in my first picture and I had lost about 15 pounds from the time I got my permit to the time I got my license. And I lost a lot of that in my face. So I was like, you know what, like, I want to take a new picture and look cute. But the lady at the DMV said, well, if you want to do that, you have to apply for a duplicate license and it'll say duplicate license. And I was like, you know what? I can wait 4 years because you have to renew your license every 4 years. So I was like, whatever. I was like, I can wait 4 years. I'll be 20 the next time and I'll look even more different, so it doesn't really matter. So that is my driving experience and my driving test experience and my permit test experience. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you in some way. I hope you can learn from my mistakes. And I love you guys, and don't let anybody, including yourself, ever make you think you're not worth it because you are. And I will see you guys next time. Love you guys. Bye.